Hello, lovely people. Welcome to your episode of the Naked Coach Collective podcast for this week. Today we are... Ian, don't miss your mouth. So if you're only listening, Ian has just managed to spill a whole heap of drink down him. Right, I'll leave him to tidy up while I tell you. We've only got Ian and myself, Dee, today. B is sunning herself in Spain and we'll be back next time. So I hope you don't miss her too much. Ian and I will be keeping you company, talking about what we're up to, how life is treating us, any new adventures and ventures, mindset, philosophy, and let's get going. All right, welcome, Ian.
Hello. What a disgusting mess I am.
Yes, well, this we all knew already.
Can't even drink properly.
You can't even. Oh, it's all right. Are you okay? Do you need
I'm
it?
good.
Do you need 5 minutes?
No, it's all right. I'll just sit here in filth whilst we record. Not that kind of filth. I only spilt a drink.
Okay, let's move swiftly on.
Yeah, please.
So, I know you've been really, really busy doing lots of stuff. So, why don't we start with you? Tell me, tell everyone, what have you been doing?
So, when's this episode coming out?
It is coming out on the 18th of March.
Oh, okay. So it won't be out then. So, I've got my own brand new podcast coming out on the 14th of April. It's a Monday. So you'll have me in your ears on Monday morning and then on Tuesday morning when this podcast comes out. But essentially so I've got this grand big idea in my head. And so I believe that the world needs entrepreneurs who are aligned with their purpose. Not just creating businesses for the sake of it, but creating businesses for what that legacy they want to leave. And I believe that success without the kind of adventure and that meaning and reinvention is just kind of another cage, right? So most entrepreneurs start their business for freedom, but somewhere along the way, they become trapped by expectations, responsibilities, and even their own success maybe. So I created this brand new podcast to talk with very highly successful entrepreneurs to understand what their turning points were. What were the moments they risked it all for something bigger? What are the adventures that shaped who they are at their core? And what's the kind of hard-earned wisdom they don't really share in their normal kind of business interviews? So it's a podcast for those who've made it, but know there's more. And so through kind of having these conversations with these entrepreneurs, thought leaders and visionaries, we kind of decode mindset shifts with whatever wild adventures they've ever had and pivotal moments that led to them finding kind of true freedom as I define it. And so this show is to remind high achieving entrepreneurs that success isn't the final destination. It's just the starting point of the kind of real adventure. That's the big idea. And I want to create almost like a legion of, I know this is a ridiculous, impossible dream, as I like to say, but I want to create a legion of 1 million purpose and adventure-driven entrepreneurs within 10 years.
Ooh, 1 million. Wow.
So that's the big idea. I should probably say what the podcast is called.
Go on, plug it now. Do it.
So it's Uncharted, the Entrepreneur's Adventure Podcast. That's what it is.
Uncharted, the Entrepreneur's Adventure Podcast. Lovely.
Yes.
Uncharted, because it is Uncharted. I got it. Okay. So
do you see what I did there?
Yeah, I did. I've made a few notes, right? I just, as our regular listeners know, we don't script these episodes. So you told me that you were going to talk about your big idea, and that was it. So I've made some notes. True freedoms. Okay, it came out with it. So, what do you mean when you say true freedoms?
Yeah, so I kind of define freedom in with three kind of distinctions. So there's freedom from. So you've got this mindset or situation that you want to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got freedom to,
Mm-hmm.
which is having that goal, having that drive to reach something.
Yeah.
But then what sits higher than all of that is that true or pure freedom. It's that freedom that you have mainly when you're a child. It's getting back to that childlike state of, I don't know, just running down the beach, not caring the world, when you're just having little mini adventures and you're not thinking about anything else. You're not worn down by all the pressures of adult life. You've got that freedom to you to go out and be adventurous and do whatever you want. It's tapping back into that kind of pure childlike freedom.
That's a big statement, a very, very bold statement. I mean, I'm thinking of many people, adults that I know, who trying to think of if anybody I know has that right now. Not necessarily entrepreneurs, but it's a big ask. How close are you to being there?
Occasionally. So when I feel that pure freedom is when I'm mainly out in the mountains, going on hikes, doing all that kind of stuff. So it's about helping people find what it is that gives them that pure freedom feeling and tapping into that as often as you possibly can, and taking it. So mine is in the mountains, like I say, but how do I take that back into my everyday life? Where can I tap into these little things throughout my everyday life? So it's helping people with that, but that's not the purpose of the podcast. That's more my coaching kind of thing. But the podcast is there to kind of just highlight other people's versions of that pure freedom and that true freedom.
So that's really interesting because I've never really thought about it in that way before, of that pure freedom and true freedom and what it means. Because a lot of us are just sort of bogged down with living our everyday lives. You know, the choices that we've already made in the past are dictating how we're living today. And
Exactly.
we are, so especially with entrepreneurs, they chose to make a business, creating something, offering a service, doing whatever they made. So what's your starting point with, I mean, I don't want to take away from your podcast. We're going to continue to talk about that in just a moment. I just wanted to talk about coaching for a second. You know, you have, because it's in my head, do you make sure that whatever business your entrepreneur is in, that it is the right business that will enable true freedom at some point? Is that a starting point, or do you assume that?
No, the starting point is stripping all of that back, and regardless of the business that they've got, regardless of that, we forget that, and we just think about what's their version of pure freedom, regardless of the business. And then it's about a case of, okay, so how do you design a business around that? Right. Not designing that purpose around your business. It's designing your business around that purpose. So you always got that North Star that's guiding you.
So yes, okay. So you really know what that's going to be. So bringing it back to the podcast, then, how are you choosing your entrepreneurs? Have you got your guests lined up already? What sort of treats have we got in store?
We've got a couple of guests lined up, which I'm very excited about. There's one which I'm hoping to have, who is a sir. I'll say that.
Okay.
Who is a sir. And I cannot think of anyone better suited to open up the podcast. Wow. And be the first interview. I cannot think of anyone more suited who is adventurous and a high achieving entrepreneur. I mean, you might be able to guess just from that. but I've left a couple of messages.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. But I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
As soon as it comes out, just send him the link to this and say, right, he says,
Yeah. Listen, sir. Blah blah blah.
I love it. And so your podcast it's going to be weekly, right? So that's quite a big ask to have a high achieving entrepreneur guest on a weekly basis. Is you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. How's that working out?
Well, it's only 52, right?
It's only 52, yeah.
For a year, for a year's worth of podcast.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. 52.
Okay. I love the way you said that. It's only 52. My head would be going, oh my God, it's 52. But you see, there you go. Once again, a different reframe on 52. And there you have a wonderful, yeah, I love it. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast.
I don't know what else to say without giving too much away, really. It's about, let's think about it for a second. So I want to make powerful people drop the mask, right? So it's not just an adventure podcast. It's not just a business podcast. It's an amalgamation of two. I don't want it to be safe. Don't want it to be predictable. And I don't want the same repeatable talking points that you get in all the other kind of business and adventure podcasts that you do. So I want to dig deep, ask kind of raw, unfiltered questions that no one else is going to ask them, and challenge them to talk about the adventures that they don't share anywhere else. And I want to kind of bring that adventure mindset. So I'm not, like I say, it's not just another business podcast. I'm kind of living that transformation I want to talk about and want to get them to kind of bring out as well. So I give them the kind of stage to reveal something new. And so every guest is an expert in their business and every guest is an expert in their own adventure, but I get them to talk about what's behind that success, what's behind that adventure, and get them to reveal the experiences and break them down. That broke them down, sorry, to rebuild them and change them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're asking a lot of your guests, aren't you? I mean, you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's in it for them?
So they don't just come on the podcast and leave. So they'll walk away, hopefully thinking a little differently about their own life as well.
Okay.
And that's why I want the show to be what it is. I want people to come on as a guest and think differently from how I want them to join thinking it's going to be just another podcast episode where they get to pitch whatever they want to do, but that's not going to happen. I want them to think differently about their own life, and open the door for obviously future collaborations and opportunities, etc. But hopefully open the door in their kind of minds as to where they can possibly go next. I want to ask them what's the adventure and what's the dream that they've been too scared to go for yet. So I want to kind of challenge them to think bigger, despite all their outward success.
Wow. Okay. So have you gone through this process yourself?
I've not been on that show now.
Honestly, what are you like? No, have you asked yourself, well, what is it that I'm too scared to think about, to admit to? Have you done this with yourself, or have you been on a learning process yourself? How have you got to this point?
Kind of, which is what's led me down this, and to reach out to these particular guests that I'm trying to get as well, because it was like part of my sort of adventure was. So I love what we do here, the podcasting. I absolutely love it. I would do it if we had 0 listeners.
Yeah.
And so it was, okay, so what's my challenge to think bigger? And it's about getting those very high achieving, successful guests that are what they call the big fish, right?
Mm.
But I was kind of too scared to even think that they would even possibly want to have a conversation with me, and so I never kind of took the plunge. But now it's just a case of, oh yeah, they'll come on. If they don't, great, move on to someone else. It's fine. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. That's it.
Well, they don't even respond to your messages.
Well, yeah. And then I'm not even getting rejected. They're just ignoring me.
You know, it's
just like being at home every day.
Stop it.
I'm joking if you're listening, Nicola.
Nicola, he's joking. No, but you know what? It's a really good attitude to take into anything that you're doing, especially if you're an entrepreneur, is the fact that people will reject you, right? People will reject you. You will be rejected. If you look at so many successful people, they will all, and I'm sure you'll find this out through your conversations in your podcast, they will all have had major stories of rejection and lots of it. So
yeah. We actually touched on this, didn't we, in an episode a couple of weeks ago? Was it last week?
Yeah, we did. We talked about how rejection is not really a negative. You can always, you need to go through the process of it. And you brought in a example from, is it the Mary Morrissey stuff that you do, right?
Yeah, the Mary Morrissey stuff that I do.
She's an amazing storyteller, isn't she? I mean, she's just phenomenal.
Very good.
And I can see that you've got some of that as well. You can tell a good story. So I'm really, really excited to listen out for your podcast. Remind us again, when is the release date?
I know, 14th of April.
Oh, 14th of April. Okay.
I know it said 14th.
No, the 14th of April. Okay.
14th of April.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I mean,
I've just decided that date before we started this show.
Did you?
I need a date to commit to, so there you go. That's it now.
Well, it's enough in advance to make sure you've got stuff going on, and it's enough, and it's close enough to put a rocket up your bum.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I do need to catch up after having a bout of illness. Yes, so yeah, I got quite a bit of catching up to do, but I got all the artwork done for it. I love that kind of thing, so gets me excited.
I am so excited for you, Ian. I can't wait to see, listen in, press the like. I'll be subscribing along with everybody else, right?
You'll be the one listener for that show.
I'll be the one with the thumbs up. Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, well, good luck. Is there anything else you'd like to add on that part of your right now stuff?
I don't think so. Okay. No, that's it. There's a lot there to kind of get through. So yeah, no, I don't think so.
No. And how about coaching? How's your coaching going? Are you having good conversations, interesting conversations with people?
Well, it kind of took a bit of a backward step whilst I've been going through this whole kind of change into what I'm doing and who I'm talking to. So it's kind of only just really starting to pick back up, I would say, but because of this kind of bout of illness that I had, it slowed down for that. But yeah, it's only just starting to pick back up after all this change that I've been going through, because it was a lot of change. It took a while to figure out exactly what it is I want to do and kind of tap it. And as I mentioned earlier, it's about understanding how you can bring that pure freedom feeling that you get. And like I say, mine is out there in the mountains and that kind of thing. So it's about how can I bring that back into what I do for my business, which is this podcast, talking about adventures and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm back in that mental state when I'm even just talking about it. So it's about, I'd love having that kind of conversation. So that pure freedom is in that conversation that I'm having as well. So it's took a while to figure out how I can integrate that into my coaching and the kind of people I want to coach and the kind of conversations I want to be having. But it's all now starting to align and come together and kick back off again. So it's very exciting. I'm really excited about where it goes from here.
Me too. Can I ask you a slightly tricky question that came to mind as you were talking?
Go on, and I could see your cogs turning.
It was. It was just going in my head. Sorry, now I'm going to ask this question. Okay, so what do you think listening to all these conversations, or what would you want for your listeners listening to all these conversations? What do you want them to get out of it?
I want them to be inspired to think about more than just the outward success. So there's people, like I say, that will start business because they want more money. They want to have a nice house and that kind of thing, and that's all crap.
It's a good starting point, yeah?
Yeah. I want them to think about what it is that pure freedom means to them. Do they know what it is? Have they ever felt that before? Have they even ever felt that before? And if not, how do you kind of first start to go about figuring that out?
Okay. I think I would have felt that definitely that inspiration aspect is there. And we'll be listening to all these people having their stories of how they've developed to find that pure freedom for themselves. Do you think that largely you have to sort your mindset out?
Yeah, it's about figuring out your purpose methodology.
Okay.
So once you figure out what your purpose methodology is, it makes everything easier. And that mindset comes a lot quicker. Don't get me wrong, you are still going to have issues along the way. Your limiting beliefs will crop up, as they always do, but you're so much more prepared to tackle them. Much more prepared to tackle them, and push through and keep going to that kind of following that North Star, that purpose. Purpose methodology, it's like I don't know, it's very hard to explain. It's like a calming influence that opens up your eyes. Does that make any sense?
Not one bit.
No.
Let's go again. What is purpose methodology?
Calming influence that opens up your eyes.
Tell you what
I thought. What the is he talking about?
I'm thinking, just looking at the words of it, sort of the purpose is you figured out what you want and how, and why you want it and all the rest of it. Okay, you've done that. And your methodology is just how you're going to get there, and keeping that in the forefront of your mind at all times as you move towards your goal.
Yeah, it's about those kind of tools. The methodology shape the tool. The methodology is the tools you use to make the decisions that will align you to your purpose. And so it's about figuring out those tools and how they apply to you and what your purpose is around that to then go for it.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. And it includes tools to overcome obstacles, I imagine, and, okay. Very, very nice.
Absolutely.
Love it. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I think you're onto something great. I can't wait to see where this goes. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, me too. And thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say just tune in on the 14th of April for the first episode.
Absolutely. And we'll put reminders out as well. So in our episodes up to that point. Yeah. Fantastic. Wow. Well, congratulations. Oh, where is the
thunderous applause?
Yeah, I can't find it.
It's gone.
Can you give yourself thunderous applause?
I'll give myself that pat on the back. But wait. Here we go. Stop it. You too.
Oh, lovely.
Oh my God, it's still going. How do I stop it? Can't stop it. There we go.
Phew.
That was 40 seconds long.
That's far too.
Tell us about you, Dee. What's going on with you? We've talked about me enough for half an hour now. Come on.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Okay, enough about you. Let's talk about me now. Hey, okay. Yeah. I mean, I kind of know what my purpose is. The coaching is in all my cells, in all my bones, in my core. And while it does develop and change as time and circumstances develop and change, it's what I was born to do, really. And I know that it hasn't been the best and easiest of few months for me, in the sense that I've mentioned it before, but my parents aren't very well, and they are both um, they're just getting on a bit and they're not too well, and I want to spend as much time as possible with them. So I haven't really been doing very much to move my business forward. I've been plodding along with the clients that I do have, and actually it's been nice. I'm not pushing my business, but my business is still changing. So if we're talking business, let's think. So I coach women mainly, midlife, 40 plus, helping with their careers, their families, and their personal life. But my focus has been family for the last few months. And actually, I see that when you get to my sort of age, and you've got parents and children, your priorities change. And so my priorities have changed to plodding on with my business, but spending more time with my parents. So for now, and I feel as though there's probably quite a lot of people who are in similar positions. So naturally, I'm drawn to talking and helping others in similar positions. Like you say, a coach can coach anyone. But the truth is, for me, if I feel far more aligned with someone if I'm listening from my own experience. That's, I mean, it shouldn't really make sense like that, but that feels right. I'm listening with a little bit of core knowledge. So conversations with people about how they're dealing with their family situations, very, very different from me, in the sense that there might be someone who doesn't have any siblings, and I've got a brother and sister who are all equally involved in mum and dad's care, and not just their physical, but also their emotional well-being. But how does that work if you're an only child and you've got no one to bounce off? How does it work if you live next door or in this, 5 minutes away? It's a completely different feeling to someone like me who's living 100 and something miles away, but still does the trips. I feel a bit sort of bogus sitting here talking to you, because you've done so much and you've got all this stuff coming on, and I'm actually just plodding on. But that's okay. That's where I need to be right now.
What do you mean when you say plodding on?
Well, I'm not pushing for new business. If it comes to me, if somebody phones me or sends me a message and says, let's have a chat, I think we might have I might enjoy working with you, or you've got something that I want to explore or whatever, then I'm obviously I'm doing that, but I'm not pushing because I'm busy.
Well, that was my next question. So is it purely because you don't want to, because you're not aligned with what you're doing, or is it purely because, you got so much going on with your parents and, like you say, that travel back and forth? Is it a case of you just don't have the mental capacity / time to kind of go through both?
It's a really funny thing, right? That's a very interesting question, because I'm the kind of person who will always make time for anything that I need to do. But if I don't necessarily need to do it, then I'm very happy to not do it. So for example, if I'm working with my clients, then they would always have my time. And sometimes that means we have 8 a.m. starts, which I know that there's people out there saying, I go to work at 7 a.m. and all this, right? But, an 8 a.m. start for me is an early start, right? So,
lazy.
No, I'm working till then, but in terms of like actually talking to people is quite early. But I'll do that, or I work evenings and weekends if needs be. So just to fit everything in. But what I'm saying is, I don't know. For me, I don't want to say like I'm not working, because I am, but I'm really, when I'm with my mum and dad, I'm really trying to be present. I'm not doing okay, I think I've got to make these phone calls. Oh my God, I've got to do this. I've got to write this letter. I've got to send that email. I'm just really trying to be present and compartmentalizing that time with them right now.
Prioritizing, right?
Yeah, it's prioritizing, yeah. But it doesn't mean that I care less about my business, because you know what? The business is something that I feel in my heart, and I really just I love it so much, So I guess what my answer to your non-existent question would be that is that I'm busy, I'm stressed, but I'm happy. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this time with mum and dad. There's a lot of conflicting emotions and feelings in there, but truly it is a privilege to still be walking this earth and being able to do the things that I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not going to be guesting on your podcast anytime soon. I'm going to throw that into the long grass and say, Ian, I'm going to be a guest on your show one day.
I might let you.
I am in a very sort of transitional stage because life is not the same as it was 6 months ago, basically.
How has that family circumstance then impacted your thought process around where you want your business to be aligned to?
Well, I'm grateful that my business is allowing me to be able to spend this time.
Mm-hmm.
So I am aware that that is a good thing. I am grateful that I'm grateful that I can do it. I'm grateful that I can take a back seat from marketing, from entrepreneuring my business, and just do the things that I love, which is spend time with people I love and coach, which I love, and have the conversations. At the moment, there's no growing. That's it, actually. That's what at the moment, there's no growing. Yeah. But that's fine. That's good.
Where it needs to be right now then.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a privilege. I feel privileged, bottom line. I feel privileged.
Okay. So where does it go from here?
I think it just continues to develop as it's going. I will have to start bringing in new clients soon. Anyone who's a coach knows that you do have to keep bringing them in, right? You do have to do that. And I will have to start. And I'm not actually afraid of that. And I'm not worried about starting up again and doing that. For me, it's all about mindset. So when my mind is in the right place for it, I'll be up and on it again. So this is a temporary phase. Going through the years, aging, developing and changing all the things, the different careers I've had, the different places that I've lived in, the different relationships. I think what I've learned is that everything is a moment in time and things change all the time. You develop. Hopefully life makes all those changes positive ones, but even when they don't, your mindset can help you create them, make them positive ones. And I'm very, very grateful that I'm in that sort of place. Even if it's shit, I can make it smell nice.
Lovely. And on that bombshell.
I'm going to cut that out.
I can make it smell nice.
There is positivity. There's light in every situation, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. So, yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
I'm not religious, but amen. I'll drink to that.
You probably are somewhere deep down inside. Who knows? It's a whole nother conversation.
It is. That could be one of our hot topic conversations.
I think where I'm at right now is a state of acceptance as well, because I wrote that word down. I was just looking at my notes. I thought, acceptance kept coming into my head. It is a state of acceptance, but it's not a passive. It's not a passive acceptance. I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm aware of what I'm not doing, and it's all okay.
All okay. Nice.
It's all okay. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, never going to stop coaching. I love it, love it, love it. Every conversation I have brings something to the table for everyone involved, usually.
All right, isn't it?
It's just incredible. I mean, when we go back to talking to our coach, you can just keep doing it. The more you do it, the more you love it. In its infancy of developing of what you do and what can be achieved. And I still often talk to people who really don't see the value in it. But do you have those sorts of conversations?
Oh, God, yeah. People are like, what? What are you doing that for?
Yeah. They've never experienced it.
But what they don't realise is sometimes I'll take the conversation down a coaching route, but they don't even realise it. But they have a good conversation. And
yeah,
Yeah.
I think when you meet somebody, especially like, maybe a family or member or a friend that you haven't met for a long time, and you have this conversation and you say, and they say, oh, what are you doing now? You're still teaching? And I say, oh, no, I'm not teaching now. I'm coaching. And they kind of like take a breath and say, oh, like, okay. And then I just want to jump in and say, oh, but you get this, it's so many benefits. It's just so amazing what you can achieve through coaching. But I just usually sort of say, yeah, it's really good. Check out my podcast.
Yeah, I used to try and justify it as well, but no, I'm just like,
yeah,
that's kind of like it's like when I've said before, haven't I? Yeah. When I first kind of discovered it, I thought it was some tree hugging hippie nonsense. So maybe that's what they're thinking as well, but they've just not got that realization that I had about how powerful it could be.
I think that is still a very widely held general opinion. That is a bit mumbo jumbo, a bit sort of fandango kind of.
Fandango. Airy fairy fandango.
Yeah, it's a bit sort of for that, but it is when you see the things that people achieve through just having these really targeted conversations is fantastic.
It's very good.
It's very good.
In summary, coaching, good. You're welcome, listeners.
Yes, exactly. If you didn't listen to all the last 40-odd minutes of this and you've just jumped to the end, then summarize again for us, Ian.
Coaching, good.
Right. Have a lovely rest of your day, everyone, whatever you're doing. And remember, be there.
Be there.
And be naked.
Be naked.